Good morning, viewers. You are welcome to yet another edition of Legit.ng Facebook Live. Political Arena is the show. My name is Akinyemi Akinrujomo. I am your host. You know what this show is all about. This show is about helping you to understand important and very significant political happenings across the country. And today, as we do, we have brought you yet another important guest. Somebody who is going to be speaking on some of the important things happening around today. Those things you want to know about. And his name is Honorable Segun Olulade, popularly known as Eleniyan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm aware that during your time in the house, the Okada ban that has not been implemented was passed around that time. Yeah. Now, my question is, did you ask your constituencies about this issue? And then do you think it's making the right kind of impact right now? Because I see a lot of people working. They are using, like we call O-Trek.
Yeah, let me say this. I was very, very much involved in how the bill came into being today. I could recall that the then governor, Mr. Babatude Fashola,
yes,
was we had the bill, and as a house, I was the spokesperson for the house then, and I recall that we went to the hospitals, we got our data right, we do a lot of consultations, we met with the security agencies across the state. We ensure that we also have what we call the public hearing, where we engage even the Okada riders then, and everybody we all agree that in every constituency there are some major rules that we cannot allow Okada to continue to apply because of the issue of insecurity, and because the purpose of government is for you to provide security of lives and property and the welfare of the people. So security comes first and the welfare of the people comes second. So the welfare of the people is what we consider mostly as far as that is concerned, because we saw many lives being lost. We saw a lot of it's just now that I'm finding it difficult to really lay hold on the data that we got then, because those are the things that make it possible for us to have that law then.
From what you're saying, you are trying to say is that the Okada riders were actually part of the decision making.
They were invited. They were invited for a stakeholders meeting.
Which body of the Okada riders, or was it just random Okada riders?
No. They have an association. I know they have their association. So all of them were invited.
So the Okada Association accepted that they will not apply some rules?
Yes, we all agree. This is not something that we just come up with a law and it becomes a law today. But what we did then was that there was a stakeholder meeting, there was a public hearing on it. The public came in to make their input. The association also make their input, and we all agree that that we cannot allow them to continue to kill the people, to continue to cause threats, security threats to our state and our people. And we decided that this law and every sections of the law were well taken care of at that public hearing.
But there are people complaining right now that the law does not seem to be properly applied, in that there are no other alternatives. From those routes where Okadas were taking off, there are no alternatives at the moment.
Let me correct that.
Okay.
Number one, what is being implemented today, as far as I know, is a partial implementation of that particular law.
So are you saying it's still going to get tougher, or that?
Because there are some roads. I just heard on news that they are just restricting. It's not even a ban, it's a restriction. We didn't ban. They did it in Edo State, they did it in Kano State, they did it in other part of the world, the states in Nigeria, even in Abuja. You can't ride Okada. So why must it be Lagos?
So what's the full extent? If you say this is partial and the Lagosians are screaming, what is the full one going to be?
The full law states in each of the local government in Lagos State and SCDAs, there are rules that are major rules. There are bridges that you must, all the bridges, you cannot even pass through any of the bridges, because that is what the law says.
So you are trying to say that now, currently, we're doing just six local governments. You are saying about the remaining 21, 22 local governments.
We still see them still plying those roads. So they must, we must understand something, that the rule of law must always prevail in this country. Once there is a law, any government that come here must be able to enforce those laws.
Okay, but
if you have any question about the law, you take it back to the House of Assembly and let there be an amendment on the bill.
But what is the palliative measure, the other alternative provided for people when there will be no Okadas from inside roads?
Have you all forgotten?
How do we get?
Have you all forgotten? There was a time in this same Lagos that all you see is motorways. Where are those motorways today? You hardly see one on the road any longer. Why? Because there was a system in place that created the BRT lane, that provided for lag bus, for BRT buses. Those systems are still there. So what happened to it? I could recall then when you are applying from, if you are coming, let's say from 7 Up, or going towards Tommy Lambridge, on both right and the left, you will see a very big space, garage for the trucks, for those buses. They are almost disappearing. So we must look back to see what has happened to those buses, and how we must ensure that there is sustainability of every policy of government that is beneficiary to the people of Lagos.
Okay, let me still come back to my same question, and that is, you were part of those who made this law, who passed this law, and you said that this is even part of it, the partial one. You have explained what the full extent is likely going to be. My question still remains, which is a question most Nigerians are asking right there on the streets. How do people move from the spaces, from what you said, major roads?
Yes.
But then some major roads are linked by some inter roads. At the end of the day, you cannot make it from this major road to this major road because
you cross over. You get another person. We travel out of the country. We get you get into a train. You get and drop from there. You join another train.
From what I'm getting,
and if you go through buses, also you go from one bus station to another and join another bus to get to.
From what I'm getting is that there is no palliative measure. There is no other something that has been created for people to be able to move inside streets.
No. What we are saying is that there is a restriction of movement of those Okadas. So those areas, those inner streets, are still left for them to make their money from. Nobody have taken job away from them. We are always saying that the safety of the people of Lagos is paramount to the government of Lagos. So I don't think anything.
Okay, even if that is what, let me put it, as a Lagosian who's been going about and who probably feels the pulse of the people as well, I will say what I have seen and I will explain. Then maybe we will take a chance at that. Now, what is the question is, I am aware that, let's say, they were banned, as you said, on major roads.
Yeah.
But I find it hard to move even inside some of the streets because I can't even find them there. There are complaints that security forces go after them, whether in the streets or on the main roads and all this. Is this part of the law?
Let me say this. If there is any enforcement that is contrary to the law, they have the right. They are Lagosians, they are Nigerians. They have the right to challenge such rights. If their right is being infringed or being infringed, or if there is an abuse of enforcing those laws that are there. But for me, there are laws and we must always follow that law. This morning when I was coming here, I trekked down because there was an hold up. I dropped from my car and trekked down to this place. So it's not a matter of, when you go outside this country, you see our governors, you see our commissioners, you see top people even over there, the parliamentarians over there, you see those who are government officials, billionaires, economic drivers in those countries. You see them walking on the road. So why can't we do the same here?
Okay, to wrap up this, I'm going to ask you a last question because it was based on what you just said. You mentioned hold up right now.
Yeah.
What I could say I have seen, and probably so many people will agree with this, the removal of some of these Okadas and Keke Napeps, apart from some of them talking about having food taken away from the table, also seems to have created gridlock in Lagos State, whereby there are traffic everywhere because people who used to had cars but then were taking Okadas and Kekes now have decided to bring back their cars.
Yes.
I've been seeing traffic for days now.
Yes, you will see traffic because there are work going on in nearly every area.
So it's not because of Okada ban?
It's not because of Okada. In fact, Okada ban have created an opportunity for vehicular movement to be smooth than how it was before.
You carried out your research on this?
Yes.
Well, I carried out my own research, and my own research shows that there is a whole lot of traffic still on the road.
Yes, it's not the Okada ban. Before the Okada ban, there has always been traffic on the road of Lagos. So it's not because they banned Okada because of the restriction now that brought up the issue of hold up. No, hold up have always been there. And you will know that it has even reduced since the period, if you look at it critically, it has reduced from the period that we now have the restriction, because those Okada reckless driving on the road have been erased, and people can now move smoothly without necessarily being infringed upon.
Okay, as the person who passed the law and then who has seen the implementation at least, you can also address the people and explain to them what the law was intended for and then what you see at the moment. Just a thing to them and let them tell.
Yeah, I would just say to Lagosians that we must always obey the law. We must always support the government. And we have the right to question everything. We have the right, and that's why we have our representative in the houses of assemblies and also at the National Assembly. If there's any issue, we can always write to them. We can always go there and lay our petition or try to amend those laws that we feel are not too okay for us. But once there is a law, we must ensure that we obey the law, and the rule of law must always prevail.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Okay, what the Honorable has just said is you can petition against the law that he was one of those who joined and made, and is making life a little for people. So you can just petition and they find out. Now let's go to the next question I have for you. I am aware that as a Lagosian, you are in the camp of the Jagaban Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
Yeah, that's
and there are reports all around that he intends to run in 2023. Can you confirm this?
Well, let me make this very clear to you. I've met, even of recent, I've met Asiwaju. I have not told anybody that he's contesting. Okay. But some of us will compel him to contest. Okay. Because we know what they have in stock for this country.
Do you think
they have demonstrated that? Yes, they have demonstrated that in Lagos. When he came into office in 1999, we might have forgotten. In 1999, he started a revolution in Lagos, a transformation that everybody is now looking up to Lagos. Before now, when they moved the capital of Federal Republic of Nigeria to Abuja, there was this massive movement to Abuja. Everybody thought that is the end of Lagos. When Asiwaju came into office, the total IGR of Lagos then was just 600 million naira. He grew it to over 30 million naira before he left. And he has been able to sustain...
13 billion.
Billion, I mean.
Okay.
So, and he has been able to fit people in strategic places that we can now see what they have done with the offices that he has appointed them to be in those days. As commissioner, before he even started appointing his commissioner, you see that they constituted a committee. The committee worked seriously about each sectors of the economy, in sport, in education, in health, and check all those things. If they have allowed what was started by Asiwaju in 1999, 2000, talking about the Heron project, if they have allowed it to skate through, by now Nigerians will not be talking about interrupted power supply in Nigeria any longer, because it started that revolution. We have what we call Jiggy Bola then. We have our health sector being transformed in Lagos. People started moving their parents to Lagos to come and enjoy the facility in Lagos while he was the governor of Lagos State. He in the area of education, he transformed our educational sector within that short period that he became the governor. Things have changed. We now start having free WAEC for the people or for students in Lagos State, and you see that a lot of people who have their children in other states started bringing them down. Our higher institution was well equipped. It was engaging the judiciary. The judiciary was also reformed to the level that they had today. You can see a lot of impact that the man has made, and he has been able to raise leaders like no other person in this country have done before. You can see everywhere that you see this is somebody that is doing well. You will see that actually have one or two things. He have a way of detecting those people. He's a master strategist, and he understands the country more than any other person. He's not a tribalistic person. He is not a religious what would I call it now?
Understood.
A sentimental person. You will see that even in his home, in his domestic home, his wife is a Christian, he is a Muslim. He accommodates everybody. He democratized even religion. Instead of just making things too hard for everybody, he make it so simple. Some of us who are very young were able to come into office by virtue of his contributions. So, I mean, some of us believe that coming into Nigeria, the economy of this country will transform. Security, today, everybody is talking about security in Lagos. He started what we call the Security Trust Fund.
Yeah,
he established LASMA. LOMA was reformed. And what we call KAI today. He created jobs for so many young people across. The highest level of employment that was done in over 22 years ago till now was done in year 2000 into the civil service. A lot of massive employment was done for
even
those.
with all what you said, with all his CV that you have, what do you think his chances really are? This is international. This is national politics that we are talking about.
Well, when we talk about national politics, he's a leader, is the national leader of the ruling party.
So, do you think that grants him, that gives him an edge?
I want you to mention one name that you think have the pedigree, have what actually Bola Tinubu has today that can compete with him favorably. None. Come to 2023, we will ensure that Ashwaju contests, and by the grace of God is going to be the next president after Muhammadu Buhari.
Okay, well, having said that, what are those things that you feel he should tackle if indeed he becomes president? Or what are those things that you feel he would look at, those sectors, those particular challenges that Nigeria is having, that you feel he would use, even, let's say, even for campaign, not to even talk about winning, but when he wins or when he campaigns, what are those areas that you think he should use?
know that by the grace of God, what he did with the health sector in Lagos, he will want to replicate same in the country. What he did with our security in Lagos, that everybody is now coming to Lagos feeling safe, even with the huge number of population that we have in Lagos, he will do the same with the national, with Nigeria. What he did with our educational system is going to replicate, if not better, than what he has done in Lagos. And what he did with the economy of Lagos, that have made Lagos to be one of the 6 largest economy in Africa today. Lagos State, I know is going to replicate that even in our economy, to ensure that Nigeria economy become so buoyant that everybody can always refer to.
Okay, so what part do you hope to play in his 2023 ambition if he eventually declares, or when you eventually get to compel him to declare?
Like I said, we have already started. Some of us have started our underground movement. We started talking to people across board. We are reaching out to people in the east, reaching out to people in the north, the south, everybody that cares to listen. And we have something, we have a scorecard to place before them. I said, look, this is our scorecard. This is the man we're talking about. And I believe by the grace of God, come 2023, the whole nation will buy into our project to ensure that actually Bola Tinubu becomes the next president of this country so that Nigeria can prosper the more. Okay,
let us round off on this note. Do you, because right now you return back to business, do you have any intention of returning to politics?
I'm a politician. So I'm a businessman.
But do you want to run for the other office?
Definitely. I'm still very young. I still have a lot of life ahead of me. So,
which office are you thinking? I know you contested in the House of Representatives for the House of.
If I'm going to contest next, I'm not going to contest anything less than House of Rep.
All right then. I wish you luck.
We
all wish you luck from here, lady.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.